Hey, Chris Mao, where are you? Do.
Hold on a second.
Hey, Chris.
Do you have feedback from me?
Not at all. You sound fine.
Because you're coming through the wrong monitor. Hang on.
You sound dead sexy.
Drop dead sexy. Speakers need to be headphones. Go ahead and talk.
All right. How's that?
That's much better.
All right. The only feedback we have is the choppy view of both of us where we look like we haven't shaved and we look like crap. But, oh no, that's reality.
That is reality.
I recorded, hey, everybody. Welcome to the This Week in Geek after show for January 23rd, 2017. There's a little bit of news we're going to cover, but mostly we're going to just, joke around.
Yell at each other.
And Alil ditched on us. So, you know what? It happens.
It happens.
It happens. He had work to do. He's got some insurance to adjust, so that'll happen. Chris, I don't know if you've noticed, but our Google toolboxes are gone. I'm trying to work that out because I know they're out there. There's a way to do it, but we can't put our names along the bottom right now.
What happened?
It disappeared on everybody. But if you Google Google Toolbox, you can get it. It says that it will load it in. It's not working, or at least I haven't been able to make it work yet, but it'll be back. I'm not worried about that.
That's a problem. So
I look absolutely terrible right now, but if you saw me, I recorded for Nuff Said. We have a thing called the Mighty Nuff Said Reading Club, where we you added effects. Chris Mao. That's what it says.
I was just hitting buttons. So.
But if you watch that, we recorded it Saturday morning. Guess who's not a morning person? Oh my gosh, I look like a mole man. My eyes are like all squinty. I'm all scuzzy and ironically, I think I'm wearing the same thing I'm wearing now, but
that's a shock.
The shirt was cleaned since then. That's about the only thing.
But that was several days ago. So
yes. Well, that doesn't necessarily matter. So, all right. We have the live chat open. So if anyone wants to join in and chat with us, just go ahead and write something and we'll be chatting right along with you. We just covered all the news from this week. There's a couple more things I want to cover with you, Chris. First of all, I'll wait.
There we go. I'm ready now.
It's not like we're live or something. Don't worry about it.
Jeez.
So this one is pertinent to you
about
and I. American Horror Story Season 7 is coming out in September. They have renewed it already
for 9, right?
8 and 9. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm down. Now, 8 is the one I believe that is the crossover. I know that people have said, it's this next season at 7 is going to be the crossover where they do Coven and Murder House. But I thought that I read it was 8 that is the crossover.
Right. I think 8 is a crossover.
I don't know what 7 is going to be. So
they've been throwing stuff out there. Who knows? I mean, we do know that Evan Peters and Sarah Paulson are back for 7. They're the ones that are locked up, which I think is huge because
I think they're all going to lock back up because this show has been fun for them to do. It has made stars out of some of them. Like they weren't really household names before this. And they keep coming back. I mean, if you can pull in a Kathy Bates, she's a big star.
Oh, sure.
Pull in a Jessica Lange, that's a big star.
And Jacqueline Bissett. Right? No, not Jacqueline Bissett. Who's I'm drawing a blank. They do. They get, you were saying Kathy Bates. I'm sorry.
I know. I'm drawing a blank too. I'm so tired too. I'm starting to turn into a mole man again.
Yes.
I love the show and I'm just really excited. At least we know we got 3 more seasons. For those of you that don't know, those of you that are fans of This Week in Geek that may not know this, Chris and I do a podcast called Disturbed, the American Horror Story podcast. And we've done the last couple of years. It's been just a blast.
Sure. It's been wonderful.
We're actually working on doing an off season of the first season again. Since we started, did we start with Freak Show? Is that where you and I started?
We started...
We didn't start with Hotel, did we? We started with Freak Show, then Hotel,
no,
and we did a new one.
No, we did Hotel. We didn't do Freak. No, we did. We came into Freak Show.
We did do Freak Show because we talked about Chickless.
Yeah, we did. So it was Freak Show. Sorry.
So we're going to go back to season 1, The Murder House, and talk about that in the off season. So we got to get on that pretty soon. But if you're a fan of American Horror Story, the podcast is a lot of fun. People really like it. We have a pretty big following on there.
Yes.
And to us, this is just great news. It's such a fun show to talk about.
Well, you know what? It's interesting, and I think they do a good job of doing it something different every year. Even though last year was really interesting, it got a little corny at the end, but still it was great.
It tends to have an issue in the last couple episodes,
right?
But you know what? It's the ride. It's not that's the story necessarily as much as the ride. So many wild things happen. I mean, this season had so many shockers.
Oh, sure.
I actually think the ending wasn't bad on this one. It's just it either connected for you or it didn't.
Right.
I think I liked the end of this season more than you did, but I even felt it went off the rails a little bit, just like Freak Show. I think Freak Show was an amazing season.
Sure.
Last episode, a little soft. Hotel, last episode, maybe a little soft, even though
I don't know.
I love it.
Of all of them, I thought Hotel wrapped up the best.
It did.
I think it did because the second to last episode really tied. I mean, the last episode was almost like hey, farewell, thanks, guys. This was an awesome series.
You could almost say that about Roanoke also.
Yeah.
But
there was a lot of stuff to wrap up at the end of Roanoke because
it was really
a ton of stuff out there.
But that last episode really almost could have been a standalone. If they had ended it on that episode prior,
sure.
It would have left you wanting more.
Sure.
It would have left you questioning a lot, but it could have ended right there.
Yes.
So
could have.
I got another one. Oh, let's just cover some TV stuff. Do you watch Bates Motel?
No, dude. You know me.
I know you're totally
my
busy.
TV writing is next to impossible. So
yeah. You need to binge it when you have a chance.
Okay.
I have enjoyed all the way through. A trailer hit for the new season. This is the last season, and Freddie Highmore plays Norman Bates. Vera Farmiga is what's her name? Norma Bates.
Norma Bates.
I couldn't think of that.
Abby Normal.
So,
what?
I mean, we all know because of Psycho where this is leading, right?
Yes.
Because this is now it's interesting. It's set in a different time frame, but it is following so much, and there's so many clues leading up to Psycho. Okay. This new season, forget any spoilers. If you watch the trailer, the spoiler is there. Okay. So I'm not going to tell you what happens in previous seasons, but this next season is Psycho, or at least there are going to be episodes that are going to be their telling of the Psycho story.
Okay.
So there's a shot in it where he's talking to his mother, and he goes down into the basement, and you hear her talking, and then the camera pulls, and she's in a cooler because he does taxidermy, and Vera Farmiga's sitting there with her eyes frozen open. It's ice all the way around her eyes.
Right.
It's the worst. It's before he's done the taxidermy on his mother,
right?
And and he's like, "Mother, please stop criticizing me." And you're watching it going, "Oh no." He's gone off the deep end. And Freddie Highmore is so excellent as Norman Bates.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really creepy, off kilter. And Vera Farmiga is always excellent.
Yeah, she's
in fact, this is another one, man. The cast on this is great. You ever watch The Shield?
Yes.
Remember Clem? He's on it. He plays Norman Bates' brother, but he's only in a little bit. But it's like he's great at it. He's great. And he's, how Clem was always like seemed like he was kind of a good guy, but he was a dirtball.
Right. Yeah. Same thing.
This guy even inches more towards dirtball. It's great, man.
Your sister owns a roadside motel. Yeah. In the Munster house, right?
She seems normal and like a saint compared to his past.
Well, I'm not saying she isn't, but I'm saying everything associated with it will be.
Yeah, it's really a good show. I think it's really good. Martha and I love it. We always watch it. Mm-hmm. And this trailer, you got to check it out. Even if you don't watch the show, just watch it to see Norma's frozen eyes. I was
Frozen
like,
eyes in there.
this is disturbing. It made me want to watch immediately. Now, here's the other thing about it. We talked about this on This Week in Geek once. They have cast what's her name? Marion, the woman that he sees in the shower and then attacks in the shower. That Norman does.
Right.
She's in this season. So we know that it's a psycho story.
Right.
She has not been in anything in any way. So it's going to take, because if you remember the movie, she's going to her sister. She gets in her car. She has to stop. She stops at the Bates Motel. The first night she's there, dead.
Right.
I should say, dead.
Yes.
Rihanna is playing Marion.
Oh, wow. That'd be awesome.
So, I don't know how good an actress she is, but as we know from the first one, she doesn't have to be in it very long.
No.
Just
has to look good in the shower scene, and that's about it.
That's about it. Freddie Highmore has to get charged up. Yeah, I think that'll happen.
What was it? The End of the World? Was it that? What's the one with where Michael? They have all the stars over.
Michael Cera,
slaps on them. Yeah, that's all. It's a drug collection or connection to it.
As funny as those guys all are, Seth Rogen and all those guys, the kingpin of that movie for me
Danny
is
McBride.
Danny McBride.
Yeah.
And you know what it is? You know what scene always gets me? Like when I think about that movie, the first thing I think about,
the breakfast scene.
Yeah, they're out of resources, and he makes this giant breakfast, and it's got the music playing and everything. It's awesome.
And Emma Watson's like, you. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Oh god, that killed me. Danny McBride killed me in that movie.
He's funny in almost everything he does.
He is.
Eastbound and Down, he was such a
he was great in that show.
Yeah, he was great. He was great in Tropic Thunder. I love that movie. As bad as
so do I. Oh, it's great. He's even funny in Land of the Lost, which is not good, but he's funny in it.
Is
Will
he?
Ferrell's funny in it too. Yeah,
he's okay.
It's a bizarre movie,
right?
And you watch it, and you're like, I'm really wasting my time watching this. But as standalone performances, those guys are pretty funny. And Danny McBride, total commitment to it, and he's funny in it. So let's see. There was another TV one. I don't know if you ever watched this, but we binged it. Did you ever watch Prison Break?
I watched the first season because it was filmed here.
Yeah. So Wentworth Miller is the lead. He's Michael in it. So you watched that first season.
I watched
Did you
first
like
season.
That?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was interesting.
I thought it was a great show. That was really one of the first event TV shows for American TV, because the first season is only 12 episodes or something, and that was unheard of at that time. And
it was a mid-season replacement, right? Wasn't it?
Right. Yeah, I think it was over the summer or maybe winter. It was a short run. I really loved it. Martha and I loved it. In fact, it falls off the rails. It gets way wacky. It's only 4 seasons.
Right.
By the 4th season, the first season, he gets into prison and they're escaping. The second season, they're still escaping from prison. The third season, they end up in Mexico in a jail together. They're all escaping. And you're like, please. And then the 4th one, they're just going to pull a caper.
We're Ocean's 11.
It's great. But, the thing is, I loved, there's a character, Sucre. He was great. Michael is great. I didn't love the brother. The one who the two of them play brothers on Legends of Tomorrow. I thought it was all right. He's kind of the weakest written character for me, but the other guys I loved. And my favorite by far is Teabag Bagwell. That guy was so fantastic. And they even when he's written off the show and at the end of the 3rd season, he pops back up in the 4th season.
I'm back. Hello.
He is and they're like, really? Teabag? It's yep, here he is. And he's just as awful. So there's a trailer for they're not rebooting it. They're bringing back Prison Break for a limited run. I think it's 8 episodes. Did you watch the trailer?
No.
It looks like they're doing the right thing rather than, let's go back to our roots. We're going to put him in a prison. It's going to be serious. It is serious, okay? But now, at the end of the 4th season, I'm going to spoil it for you. Wentworth Miller's character, Michael, is dead, okay? This is what's crazy. End of the 4th season, that character is dead. Then they did a movie that came out after it that made no sense because it went back to a time they were all in prison together that kind of filled in the gap between season 3 and 4. So he's alive there after, and it literally came out like a month after you saw him die on the show, but they don't explain it in the TV movie. It was awful. It's like all your emotion, everything is gone. You're like, really? Watch it between these seasons because otherwise it means nothing.
Right.
And on this show, guess who faked his death? And his brother goes out looking for him, and T-Bag is there, and he's like, I've got news that your brother is alive. And there's a shot in it. So what they do is he's alive, but he's in like the Middle East, in a prison in the Middle East.
Of course he is.
So they all go there. They're going to get into the prison to break him out, but you're in the Middle East. So they're like, not only do they have to get out of this prison, they got to figure out how to get out of this country.
Right.
And it looks... It looks nuts, like explosions and weird things going on. And you know, it's not just the brother and Sucre going. They got to bring T-Bag along for the ride too. I'm sure there are other ones. It's like you want to be inconspicuous. Let's bring in 14 people from this prison. We've all gotten out now. Hey, let's go back to that prison. Because I know
Affleck show up and
that would be the first thing I'd want to do. Yeah, Casey Affleck, and he's got a little remote control car, and they're fighting the whole time.
And Scott Conn, and it'd be great. What's the other guy's name? I love that part of those Ocean's movies.
Yeah,
when they just argue with each other. They're like 3-year-olds. So
right. So here's the other thing. There's a shot in it, like shot after shot. You're going, what the hell is going on here? It looks really like a fun watch, but. They show a shot with T-Bag laying on a couch or a bed, or he's like in a hospital, and he pulls his hand up, and he's got a metal like Darth Vader hand. Love it. What is this? What is this craziness? I mean, come on. We don't have robotic hands like this. He looks at it and goes like, and you're like, oh my God, please make that part of the show and not a dream.
That's right. I woke up and I had a Luke Skywalker hand.
It is. It's totally, man.
Is this on Fox or what's it on?
It's gonna. Oh, I think it's on Fox. You know what? It didn't say, but I think I remember.
That was a Fox show, right?
It was a Fox show.
Yeah.
I'm 99% sure it wasn't like a pick up by Amazon or pick up by Netflix.
Sure,
it is on Fox, and no matter what, we're watching it. I mean.
The train wreck or not, so
but it hasn't. None of them were really a train wreck. That's the thing. They were exactly what they should be. They were enjoyable. Some of it was pretty good drama, but really, they made a very different genre show out of this around one simple premise that was ruined after the first season. How can they do that unless they just keep dipping in the well and it doesn't work? But it worked,
right?
And when it didn't work, they made it a caper.
More faster, more furious.
Right.
It's just like, yeah, that's it. So
I thought it was great.
Well, that's cool.
I'm excited, man.
I never, just that part of TV with the jobs I've always worked. I just never have time. I never was really into those shows, and there were very few that I got to watch regularly. So, thank God for the DVR and
Yeah, and like Netflix being able to binge stuff is what works for you. Did you see the trailer for Star Wars Rebels?
Yes. Oh.
Now, I just started watching, and of course, if you go to like on demand, it's real sporadic. They have like episode 1 from season 1, episode 4 from season 1, episode 5 from season 1, then episode 12 from season 1. You're like, what?
They're really packaging them very strangely, but
if you watch the 3rd season, you can watch it right now on demand.
Right.
So episodes 1 through 12, I think it is.
12, yep.
And then the second half of the season's just starting. Do you watch that show?
I have not watched season 3 yet.
But you've watched the others.
I have, yes.
Okay, so I'm starting with season 3. I watched like a couple of early episodes, and because they were non-linear, I was like, you know what, I'm going to start with season 3. When I can get the whole seasons, I'll watch those. But oh my gosh,
it's great. It's awesome.
It's so much better than I was expecting. And everyone, you told me a number of times it's great. I didn't know that you'd really watched it. I thought, like you saw one and like, oh, it's great.
No, I've seen them.
It's so good. And this season 3 is crazy good.
Number 1, it's good. And number 2, they bring Obi-Wan in. They have There's Darth sightings. There's Darth Maul
this
sightings.
Season, there's a fight in the trailer for the second half of the season. I think it's Obi-Wan and Darth Maul have their rematch.
So spoiler alert, Darth Maul survives the fall and becomes like mechanical from the waist down.
I love when he walks through your clink, 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 clink.
I mean, just like, like everything. I mean, look, Grievous was basically a Jedi and, was a cyborg Jedi. So, I mean.
And that's what's happened with Maul, pretty much.
What's happened with Maul, pretty much Maul turns into that. And then, and I can't think of the character's name. The one girl fights Darth Vader a couple of times.
I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, it's bad. And they're gonna bring Admiral Thrawn into this season or next season's.
He's in this season.
Yes, he's in the season.
Because I've seen him, and it's great. It's really great. And see, here's the other thing. This is why I'm loving it so much. They say that this series is canon.
Yes.
And if you have a real sharp eye, or you can search on the internet, some of the characters and the ship from this are in Rogue One.
Right.
And knowing it's canon, and they're doing some really interesting things that if you were a good fanfic writer, these are the kind of things you'd be adding, like the dark saber, things like that.
Right.
They're saying it's canon. That means this stuff could pop up in a movie. That means this stuff is part of the story.
Sure.
I love it, man.
Well, and I think they did that because it was set before they were ever going to touch it. So they pretty much eliminated the EU that they created after 4, 5, 6 because, I think Lucas said he was never going to do that. So he had made statements that he was never going to touch beyond Return of the Jedi. So he let that go, and then let guys like Timothy Zahn and Michael Stackpole and all these other people write a bunch of books that were after that. So they
eliminated Heir to the Empire, and all that is gone.
Right. But they're saying that they're gonna bring back some characters. Like Admiral Thrawn is in the extended universe, but obviously he was with Palpatine too. So I mean, because and they're kind of changing the way.
Well, he was in Shadows of the Empire, which Shadows of the Empire takes place before Empire Strikes Back, I believe.
Well, but then he's also in extended universe. He's in stuff after, because when, I think we've talked about this, when Palpatine dies in 6, that doesn't mean that the Federation dies. It just means that the Chancellor's dead.
Right, exactly.
And that Darth Vader is gone, so there's no Sith leading them. So even though there's a rebellion and they have a lot of worlds, there still is a Federation and a political machine in the Grand Moff.
Yeah, the Empire's not over.
Right. And so
not by a long stretch.
The Federation, the Empire is over, but the Federation isn't, which is the guys with the pointy hats and, like Tarkin, even though Tarkin's dead, guys like Tarkin, they're still there because the Emperor had to have bureaucrats. So they're sitting there. So then they took it up afterwards of how they were going to eliminate them or deal with them, politically, because the rebellion, some of the worlds just said, hey, we're going to go with the New Republic. And in the extended universe, they have several government changes because, hey, we have our freedom. What are we going to do? Well, those politicians are the same as the other politicians. Yeah. They just happen to be our politicians. So there's a couple of reiterations. But Thrawn does have stuff that happens afterwards because there's still all of these stormtroopers and all of these Star Destroyers running around that are, the army for these Moffs who are the Federation. So, there's still a lot of firepower out there. And then they deal with how Thrawn, who is this brilliant military mind, comes back and kicks part of the New Republic's butt. They figure it out.
The one I just watched showed them they were stealing Y-wings. And they went in, and there were all these in like a dead base, and they went in there and they were trying to get everything going, and there were Ugnaughts that were still there, but they're like slaves, so they ended up helping them. But then you see Thrawn all of a sudden is on a Star Destroyer there, and he's like, "Why is there signal coming from this? You need to go down there and fix this." And it was really great. I mean, Thrawn was really fantastic character.
The way the original stuff with him goes is that his race is called Chiss, and they're like they're a very militaristic species, and they're very exact. They're very like, if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and that's what they hold in high regard.
Yeah.
And so he was their best military genius, and they weren't defeated by the Empire or the Federation. Their forces held the Federation at bay. They didn't ever attack the Federation, but the Federation never took over the Chiss. And so there was some Jedi exploration or something that Palpatine convinced Thrawn to destroy, but the Chiss didn't want him to destroy it. So the Chiss basically kicked Thrawn out because he didn't follow the Chiss military code.
Interesting.
And so then the Emperor's like, this guy's a great guy. I'm going to take him. And so then he came and became part of the Federation and then moved his way up. And
so this is all staying, what you're saying is all staying canon, right?
No, they're changing it to where they don't really explain where he comes from, because Timothy Zahn is putting out a book in April about Admiral Thrawn.
Oh, good. Because
so it's like an origins book for him, so where he came from, and they're kind of changing his beginning to where they basically just kind of discover him, and then he works his way up. So
that's interesting, because that was something I did this week, and I haven't gotten through them because I just haven't time. But I went to the library and I got Aftermath. There's a second Aftermath.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Grand Moff Tarkin one, and there's a Rogue One.
Right.
Oh, and I got Bloodlines.
Okay.
All of those are considered canon.
Right.
And they take place like before Episode 7. They take place the Rogue One is before Rogue One.
Right.
But the reviews on these books are really great. And the Bloodlines one, I think, takes place just before 7. So I don't know. I'm really digging this, and I'm really liking where they're going with this extended universe.
Sure.
Phase 2. You know,
well, they when they decided not to do what Timothy Zahn did, where he created a whole family for Han and Leia, when they changed that up, they got rid of a lot of stuff out there. There was a whole universe built off of that, which if they would have made, in my personal opinion, if they would have made just movies out of that, they could have made movies for 40 years. And that's how good that material was.
But I think they're looking at it going, we can tell new stories and we can create new things. And there is a bit of a mess, because if you look they couldn't use all those Marvel comics and they couldn't use all the Dark Horse comics. Now they have control of it, and they can say, this is the storyline we're telling. Like, I was reading the Darth Vader story, which is also considered canon. That's from the Marvel comics, and it's really great. And it introduces you to characters you have no idea about. But I could very much see some of these characters showing up, in these movies.
Well, if they do it and they expand it, there's, again, we've talked about it. There's so many media outlets that they could do a lot of stuff and make it immersive and make it cool. Because the thing I liked most about Rogue One is it showed life in that universe that wasn't Jedi, that wasn't Sith, that wasn't like these superheroes. It was just plain people doing crazy stuff.
It was absolutely the right inclination too. It took us in a completely new direction.
Right.
And it told us a new type of story. But to me, it was really exciting, like seeing everything from a different angle.
Right.
And like what was happening on that planet, seeing that environment. And that environment didn't feel like a singular environment, which is my complaint with the Star Wars movies. Every planet is one environment, period. In this, we saw that everything was taking place on this city, basically.
Right.
And there were a couple of environmental changes even there, just like there would be in the real world.
Right.
I thought that was a really cool way to do it. There's a lot that makes sense about it. Plus, that hammerhead is the best thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. When it hits it, it's pulling it. I'm like, this is what the kind of stuff we want. And the Darth Vader scene, absolutely what we wanted to see.
Right. And they still have some of the stupidity of why in the hell are they meeting in the pouring rain on a landing pad in this horse shit world? But there's,
but that's Star Wars, man.
Well, but they do some of that. But that is, you're right. Every time you look at Star Wars, their equipment's never dirty. It's always pristine, and they're in the middle of a desert. They'd be filthy all the time. Like they never, the starship doesn't have like big scorch marks, and sure it has some life to it, but they're never disheveled. The inside of the spaceship is always perfect. Like, no, that's not the way it's going to be. These people live in these small quarters. There's going to be shit everywhere. It's going to stink in there.
Star Wars looks like that.
Star Wars
looks like that.
I think it's still pristine. I think it's very. I mean, but that might be some.
I think it looks like a lived-in universe. I think that there are elements that look like that, but I think it's a lived-in universe. I mean, I think about look at when they walk around in Tatooine. I mean, it's gross. But and Rogue One was dirty too. It had like a lot of grease and stuff. To me, wherever they were in Rogue One, I felt it was a very lived-in universe.
Rogue One is very good, and I think they did a better job.
Star Trek is the one that looks like a pristine universe.
Well, but that is the highly functional. See, I could buy that because it's highly functional militarily, and they've kind of made the
Trek is, but when the Enterprise is, but when they go to a planet.
Right.
Everybody looks like think of the beginning of was it the last one where they landed on that planet and there were those guys with the red and that.
Right.
And they're like out in the jungle and they're supposed to be almost a
primitive species. That's
but their clothes are like pressed and perfect.
Right.
Come on, man.
They live in huts, right? Yeah.
Anybody watching this, look at me and then look at Chris. That's lived in.
Yes, exactly. Oh no,
we're not even in a desert planet. We look like hell.
But I mean, in their whatever, they're very clean on the ship. But when they get off the ship, I think they do a pretty good job of kind of mucking it up.
Yeah, mucking it up
in the movies. I mean, where they're he's in the prison planet, even though it's still too clean. But you're right. Star Wars, as it's evolved, has gotten into that much more realistic part. But the first couple, come on.
You know what we needed? We needed Alil here because we could call this a Wedge fan club meeting. Because look at the two of us.
Yeah,
we look like Wedge in here, and Alil has the whole Wedge thing going. He even has the actual cut.
Yes.
So sorry, Alil, you missed your Wedge night.
You did. You missed the Wedgie night. So, and I we didn't bring it up during the show because I wanted to talk about that novel because to me that's huge. Because number one, I mean Timothy Zahn. At least I don't want to say throwing him a bone, but they're letting him write about a character he created and putting it back in the universe. So
that Timothy Zahn that he wrote the first one, right? Shadows of the Empire.
Yes, he wrote all the ones with Thrawn in them. So yes,
those were great books.
Oh yeah,
those were great books. Having him back doing this, letting him reestablish, it's like he's getting to reboot his part of the universe.
Right.
I love it. I can't wait for that. I didn't know about it. Now I'm totally down. I actually was about to go reread those because I loved those so much.
There's some thought that he might come back in the later movies too.
Yeah, I've heard that
because he's still around. I mean, because even it's 20 years later, those guys aren't. They're not ancient. They're old.
Now here's another one. As long as we're talking Star Wars, and we'll wrap up here because we try to keep it to about a half hour. This is the last one I really have, but I want to see what you know about this. I don't know. What is Star Wars Legends? Those were books, right?
Let me look it up. I have to review
because Woody Harrelson, the character, it's been confirmed, he is definitely playing a character in the Han Solo movie. So we have, I don't know who playing Han Solo. We have Danny Glover, or Danny Glover. I'm getting too old for this. Donald Glover playing Lando. Woody Harrelson was cast, and it's official. He's in it. I think the Khaleesi is in it too. Amelia Clark.
Amelia Clark is in it? Oh, nice.
Yeah, I believe she's in it. But it's been announced who Woody Harrelson is playing. He is playing Garrus Shrike.
Right.
Garrus Shrike is a character from Star Wars Legends. I don't know what that is. I just read this. It looked like it was a series of books. Right. I think they did a series of comic books called Star Wars Legends.
They did, yes.
But it's interesting they're using a character that's a pretty deep-cut character, and who he is, according to what I read, is he's the older guy that trains Han Solo on how to fly.
Right. He's like his mentor. He's like his Obi-Wan. Yes.
And he, in the books, is killed by Jabba the Hutt, which is what causes the debt between, or causes the relationship between Han and Jabba to get all weird.
Yes.
When he kills him, Han steals the money, and that's what causes the price to go on his head. It's something like that. But he's a really important character in that Star Wars Legends universe. Right. Does that mean we have to go back and seek these out and try to piece things together and say, who are they going to pull from? What are they going to want? Or do we just go, hey, we'll be along for the ride and try to connect the dots as they come up?
Well, I think it can go both ways. I mean, the problem is like if you get immersed in this universe that they're changing, you might be disappointed when you see it. I think they're doing a good job of pulling relevant parts that they can use to put into the J.J. Abrams universe, and then going forward. I mean, because and I don't know about that being canon because that's work that's previously done.
Right. That stuff is not canon, but they are drawing from it, just like Thrawn.
Right, but I think they're letting it go a little bit because it's already sitting there, and it's not going to affect future. I don't think.
Sure.
Possibly. Sure. I mean, I don't know. It's hard. I mean, I don't know.
He's going to die. We know that.
Right.
That's the story we're going to get about Han is it's got to lead up to Jabba, or maybe not. Maybe Jabba's a player in it, but what causes the rift with Jabba doesn't happen until he's older. Right. Because we know that he's chasing him down. He's not chasing him for 30 years, Well,
I think part of it was Jabba bought, or there's some transfer of ownership because Han works for Jabba. And I don't know if it's because, I think the rift is that Han wasn't doing what he was supposed to, and kind of, Han Solo being Han Solo just did something crazy and then got busted for it and has no way to pay Jabba. The way I always understood it was Han dropped a load that was important to Jabba, and then he never paid Jabba back for the load. And so Jabba put a price on his head.
Maybe, they have this whole thing with life debts with the Wookiees and everything. Maybe Han, whatever happens, maybe the guy betrays, maybe this Shrike guy betrays Jabba. Jabba kills him. He's going to kill his apprentice, basically Han, and then Han starts working for him.
Right.
To prevent that from happening.
Sure.
But he's Han, and he becomes rogue. And as it goes on, he realizes, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to escape this guy. I'm a hell of a pilot. And that's where we pick up with, episode 4.
Well, I don't know how it walks in because, I mean, it appears like there might be 10 bounty hunters in the entire universe, and they all work for everybody because some of them work for Jabba, but they also work for Darth because, Boba Fett works for both.
Right.
They all do work for both of them. So like the Hutts need them who aren't under Federation.
Now I really hope we don't get a Hutt movie because watching the big CGI slugs is going to get real boring. Sure. But I don't mind him popping up. I don't mind Hutts popping up in these stories because they're interesting. They're a weird character
in the universe, in the Star Wars universe. They are a pretty integral part of the whole economy of the whole system because they're not controlled by the Federation. They have their own territory. Right. Now they deal with the Federation. They tolerate them, but they're not controlled by them. So that's why people like Han Solo, all these bounty hunters and stuff hang out in Hutt space because that's what it is. And Tatooine is
because it's Federation free.
Right, because the Federation isn't going to be there and controlled. Now, doesn't mean that the Federation doesn't show up. Like, when you have a big superstar destroyer, you just show up and do what you want.
Right.
Pretty much all of the movies, but they don't mess with them because the Hutts control the underbelly of everything. So they're like the mafia of the
right. That's exactly what they are. Yeah.
Although they're big and sluggy. So,
well, things happen. Things happen. They put an In-N-Out burger on Tatooine, and look what happens.
That's right.
So,
in Mos Eisley, or the animal burger, animal style.
Yeah, let's wrap it up for this This Week in Geek after show for January 23rd, 2017. 16. Good Lord. But we'll be back next week. So here's how it works: we record This Week in Geek at 8:00 Central. And that, if you want to tweet us questions or comments or anything, tweet us at SMG_TWIG. You can tweet me personally at rsouthgate. You can tweet Chris personally at
Blue Box Cafe 176, I believe.
And you can tweet Alil if you want to communicate with him at LOGEEKZ. And if you have questions or comments, or you want to have us put up a poll or anything like that, throw it on there. One thing I would suggest, go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, which I'll put in the show notes. And I'll also put, this might work, so I'm pointing here and here. I'm going to have links to like our website and to other playlists.
Sounds good.
So if you click on that, and you go to our website, you can sign up for our email list. We have a deal with Entertainment Earth now, where we're going to be giving away some really cool toys and other things, all sorts of various properties, stuff that we would like, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, and we also have like a link to some t-shirts and stuff. We have a series of t-shirts that are going to be limited edition that will be coming out. So definitely sign up for the email list at our website. Rate us and review us on iTunes, and rate us and review us right here on YouTube. But we love conversation. Right. So join us live here on Monday nights, roughly 9 p.m. Central. And we have a chat room open. You can talk to us. Actually, I think it's on this side.
No, it's the other side. Other way, I think.
Bam.
I don't know. I don't know which way it is.
Yeah. You know what? It is. It's this side. Join us right here in the live chat, and we'll be chatting with you. And hopefully all three of us will be here when we do it. That's it. Chris, are you done?
I am done. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody. And we'll be back next week.
We'll be more awaker next week.
Yeah, more geeky goodness.
That's right.
Good night, everybody.